Welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime, where I like to talk about the real cucuys and lloronas of the world. I'm Audrey, former paralegal, current stay-at-home mom, lifelong lover of true crime. The cases I cover are wild, topics may be triggering, viewer and listener discretion is advised. People mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in court. We are on part 2 of Bay Area serial killer Curtis Dean Anderson. In December of 2007, Curtis Dean Anderson pled guilty for the murder of Ziana Lachey Kapuali'i Fairchild and was sentenced to an additional 50 years. Each time he was sent back to prison for violation of parole, prosecutors avoided seeking the necessary conviction for a sex offender registration under the law. At the time of Ziana's disappearance, there were 300 sex offenders in Vallejo, California. 100 of them lived within 1 mile of Ziana. Curtis Dean Anderson was not a registered sex offender. Thus, he was not one of the 100 men police questioned when Ziana Fairchild and Mitzi Sanchez went missing. Curtis Dean roamed Texas, Nevada, and Oregon. He has confessed killing 10 girls dating back to 1970. On the same day, his father pled guilty for kidnapping, assaulting, and murdering 8-year-old Ziana Fairchild in Vallejo, California. Curtis Jr. was identified publicly for shooting and killing 31-year-old Vance Petey Fisher in Richmond, California. The East Bay Times called his son, and I quote, a Bay Area native who had the misfortune of sharing the name with his father, unquote. His son, Curtis Dean Anderson Jr., was found dead hanging in his cell at 6:30 a.m. on January 21, 2009. 7 months later, the coroner ruled it as a suicide. At 19, Curtis Jr. was convicted of voluntary manslaughter and was serving a 16-year prison sentence. In October of 2018, 3 months before his suicide, he had racked up an additional 2 years for resisting a corrections officer. He would have been eligible for parole in 2023. A relative posted on social media that they did not think Curtis Jr. unalived himself. According to the coroner's report, and I quote, no suspicious circumstances were found, unquote. In 2001, Curtis Dean Anderson told the San Francisco Chronicle that he killed maybe, and I quote, many girls and you'll never find them. Maybe I did these things and maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm full of shit, unquote. Curtis died in prison in 2007 while serving time for his brigade of offenses. Creepily, Curtis Dean Anderson was not the only person who has dumped a body in the Santa Cruz Mountains. In April of 1998, Daniel McKay beat his wife, Debbie McKay, to death using a baseball bat in Fremont, California, and dumped her body along Highway 17. In June of 1985, Terry Childs shot and killed 17-year-old Janine Segala and dumped her body near Granite Road along Highway 17. In the fall of 1984, Damon Jock Wells took 21-year-old Tanya Zack into the woods, killed her with a hammer, and dumped her body in the Santa Cruz Mountains. In 1980, the trailside killer named David Carpenter attacked 2 hikers in Henry Cowell State Park. One was killed and the other was left for dead with severe injuries. In 1972, serial killer Edmund Kemper, known as the Co-Ed Killer, picked up 2 female hitchhikers from Santa Cruz and hid their bodies in the Santa Cruz Mountains. On April 15, 2013, the FBI released an article asking the public for help in identifying other victims of this kukui with the name of Curtis Dean Anderson. When he confessed to killing Amber Schwartz in 2007, he also confessed to killing 7 other victims in the U.S. And he said that because he killed other two people in Mexico, he would not disclose any information regarding the victims he killed in Mexico. Victim number 1 allegedly happened in late 1984. This woman was in her late teens or early 20s and supposedly a runaway. Curtis somehow comes across her, kills her, and discards her body in a swimming hole in Marysville, California. I looked up what a swimming pool meant, and it's a man-made or natural lake pool like Don Castro. A few days after this, he meets hitchhiker and victim number 2. Those who are not aware of the term hitchhiker, back in the days before Uber existed, some had the tendency to ask for a ride on the side of the road. He picked her up and reportedly north of Clear Lake, California, kills her and disposes of her body by Ballard's Bar Dam in Dobbins, California. The Ballard's Bar Dam is a lake reservoir in Yuba County. Then, in early 1985, Curtis meets victim number 3, another supposed runaway from Oregon in Marysville, California. He also allegedly murders her and disposes of her body near the aforementioned Ballard's Bar Dam. In November of 1986, just 10 days fresh out of St. Quentin State Prison, he finds victim number 4. She is described as a 21-year-old and, I quote, light-skinned black female whom Anderson met at a bar frequented by African Americans located in the East Bay off Interstate 80 on San Pablo Ave, end quote. Curtis allegedly murders her and disposes of her body in the Oakland Hills. On June of 1988, he finds victim number 5, who he alleges is Amber Schwartz Garcia. However, the case is open as they haven't found her remains. In either 1988 and 1989, he finds victim number 6. She is described as a 23 to 24-year-old Navajo Indian woman. Curtis claimed he picked her up when he was leaving a bar near 5th and 6th Street in Benicia, California. He alleges killing her and disposing of her body in the desert by Benson, Arizona. In February or March of 1997, he locates victim number 7, who is described as a black and Hispanic female named Rosie with visible track marks on her arms. Curtis allegedly meets Rosie at a bar called The Bear, which he claims was patronized by Hispanics, situated near a bowling alley under Highway 87 in San Jose, California. He professes to have strangled her to death and places her about 5 miles away from Ben Lomond turnoff, about 300 yards past a pond behind a locked gate in Santa Cruz, California. In December 9th of 1999, he abducts and murders victim number 8, Ziana Fairchild. Her skull was later found in Los Gatos in California in early of 2001. On August 10th of the millennium, he abducted Mitzi Sanchez, who lived 2 miles away from Ziana Fairchild, and she manages to escape. He was sentenced to 251 years in prison for her case, and in December of 2005, he is sentenced for an additional 50 years in Ziana's case. Curtis died in prison in 2007. We've reached the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for coming down the rabbit hole where I currently live. As always, I accept and respect your opinions. If you'd like a copy of my notes or references, please email yayareahousewife@gmail.com. Let me know what case you want me to cover next. I'll see you chismosas and chismosos in the next video. Adios.